In my almost 30 years of leadership, whether it's teaching leadership, leading teams myself, there is a problem that I've seen almost at every level. Every owner, every manager, supervisor, anyone leading anything has faced this problem, and it's the problem of organizational culture. It is the challenge of making sure that the culture you want is the one that you're having on your teams. It's amazing that if you're not intentional about your culture, you're going to have a culture whether you like it or not. And most times when we're not intentional, it's not the culture that we want. Have you ever walked into a place and not felt wanted? Have you ever felt like someone didn't want you there? That feeling that you have, that is the culture of the environment. I know that many of us at some point in time in our lives, we've been in cultures that have been toxic, unhealthy. And what that does to an organization is it drains the organization of one of its most valuable commodities, the energy of its people. That when your culture is bad, your team will not function at the rate that they're supposed to. Your organizational culture is paramount to the success of anything that you do. And again, that culture is your vision, your mission, and your values. That equates to the culture that you have in your organization. And so if you're going to have the right culture, you've got to be intentional about doing it. A lot of churches, a lot of businesses don't talk about culture the way that they should. I don't care how skilled somebody is, how gifted somebody is, how talented or intelligent that they are. If they are not a good cultural fit for your team, they will become toxic. And if you don't have the right culture in place, people bring their own culture with them. And so as we walk through this dialogue or conversation about culture, you must understand the first part of it. You have to be intentional. You have to be intentional about the culture you set. And you can have a great vision, you can have a banging mission, but if your values don't back it up, you won't get what you want out of it. Vision is where we're going. Mission is why we're going there. But the values are how we're going to get there. And you can have an amazing vision and an amazing mission, but if your values don't back up that vision and mission, then what you end up doing is you're fighting against yourself. You're fighting against what you're trying to create. Here's a great example. If you are a church and you say, you know what, our church believes in reaching the lost, but your values don't back up the fact that that's what you're doing, what ends up happening is you're going to fight against the very thing that you're trying to get into your environment. If a church says that they're about reaching the lost, then one of the values that has to be present is the fact that we meet people right where they are. See, without that, you begin to have people on your team look at someone dressed a certain way or conducting themselves in a manner that isn't Christian-like. And even though they don't have a relationship with God, you end up kicking them out or making them feel uncomfortable because your values don't back up what your vision is. And I've seen it over and over again, this thing of vision and values, that when they don't intersect, you mess up the very thing you want. Let's say you're a business owner and one of your great mantras is that we give people an experience that they'll never forget. And that's a great vision. But if you don't have the value of, hey, the customer is king, or the customer is first, or we treat every customer as if they're royalty, if there's no value to back that up, then what ends up happening is you don't accomplish your vision because your values don't back it up. And at the end of the day, what your values are determine the culture that you have. And so what I want to do for the next few weeks is unpack this whole thought of culture by spending time talking about vision, mission, and values and how they all come together. So join me in this journey as we become the types of leaders that move further faster because we understand what we've been called to. All right? Have an amazing week. God bless.